So about 16 months ago, my parents remodeled their kitchen, and in the process, they purchased all new appliances, specifically Whirlpool appliances. They got a refrigerator from Whirlpool, a Whirlpool dishwasher, and a Whirlpool stove. And all three of those appliances have failed in the 16 months that they've had them multiple times. To make things even worse, the warranty doesn't cover some of these issues, and as a result, they've had to hire someone to repair them, or I've had to come in and repair it myself. And this is right up my alley, so it's no big deal for me at all, especially for a family member. But it did get me wondering, why are all these appliances failing so quickly? And it's not just one of them, it's not just a random one-off lemon. All three of them failed within 16 months. So the fact that they were so dodgy about the warranty and basically pushing the extended warranty so hard on these service calls makes me think that they have intentionally designed them to only last barely over a year, so that you get right past that manufacturer warranty, and then after that, you're just on your own for repairs. So if you didn't get the extended warranty, you have to just buy a new appliance. And also the fact that they were pressing the extended warranty so hard. Every single time they called in about the warranty, that was pretty much the answer they were given. Well, that sucks. You should have bought the extended warranty. So let's take a little bit more of a deep dive into these appliances. So we're going to talk about the refrigerator first. It never worked. The fridge has not worked since day one. It has had numerous issues since day one, and they have not been able to repair them. I want to first talk about the ice maker. The ice maker does not work at all. It'll work for a little while, and then it'll freeze up and it'll stop working after that. So then you have to take everything apart, you have to unplug the fridge, let it defrost, and then it'll start to work again. So if we look at the ice maker here, you can see that there's this little tube that comes from the back of the freezer and into the ice maker. Now, it lets water in through this tube, it runs down the tube into the ice maker, and what happens is the water has to travel all the way down this tube, so inevitably it freezes just a little bit. Even if it's just a little bit at a time, eventually it builds up enough ice to where it clogs the tube. Now, I think this is a horrible design choice. I don't know who in their right mind would have designed it this way. If it were me, I probably would have backed the ice maker all the way up against the back of the freezer, and I'm not sure if that would have helped at all, but I mean, having this much distance between the water supply and the ice maker is definitely a lot of room for it to freeze up and stop working. It's also been making a buzzing / grinding sound since day one, and they sent a technician out to come take a look at it multiple times, and they said, everything's fine, no problems here. We can't find any problems, that's just how the fridge operates. Well, I went in and I took care of that, and when I took it apart, what I found was the fan motor in the back, the bearing was completely shot. And unfortunately, we didn't save it. I didn't realize I was going to be making this video at the time. But when you took it out, you could see that there was a whole lot of play in the fan or the axle on the motor. So the bearing was clearly shot, and it was basically just vibrating around inside of there. And we bought a cheap replacement motor on Amazon, and it was super quiet after that. It worked nearly perfectly after that. Another problem they had with the refrigerator is it would just run constantly, literally 24/7. It never turned off. And the way a refrigerator is supposed to work is it's supposed to turn on for a little while, then it turns off for a little while, then it turns back on for a little while. And as a result, what was happening was on the fridge side, a lot of things were freezing, even though they had it set at a very low temperature, and even at the minimum temperature for a while, they would have this issue with everything in the fridge side freezing. We never figured that one out, unfortunately, and they had multiple techs come out to take a look at it, and none of them could figure out the problem either. Pretty much all of them said that this is normal operation. But if I had to guess, I think there's probably a sensor that went bad, or some kind of a circuit control that went bad that just left it on all the time. I'm not 100% certain what exactly went wrong there, but eventually my dad just installed a switch that you could turn on and off the fridge so that it just wasn't running 24/7. So let's move on to the stove, and this is when I figured out how cheap they build their appliances. The stove was working great until the other day it just went completely supernova. The broiler turned on regardless of what setting it was turned on, and it would stay turned on, and it would glow this super bright orange, like radiating heat coming out of the oven. It was very intense, and we couldn't figure out why. Now, ultimately, we figured out it was the circuit board that controls the heating element. So the way it works here is you have these three relays. You have this one, which turns on the power to these other two, and then these other two control I believe it's the broiler and the bake element. Now, in the world of relays, open means that it's turned off, closed means that it's turned on. So the broil relay, what happened here is it got stuck closed. So this relay would turn on and it would supply power, and even if you were in bake mode, which turns on and off this relay here, which ultimately turns on and off the heating element, not only does it do that, but this one was stuck closed. So it was supplying power to this, and as a result, supplying power to the broiler element. So that's what was causing that to happen. Now, I noticed something interesting with these relays. Whirlpool themselves says that it's supposed to last 13 to 15 years. But these relays, they're rated for 16 amps, and they're running just over 14 amps. Now, looking at the spec sheet for these relays are only expected to operate about 10,000 times in their entire lifetime at 14 amps. So we timed how many times they operate while the stove is turned on, and depending on what temperature you have set, it operates 2 to 4 times per minute. Now, my mom is a pretty average oven user. She uses it about 30 times a day, every single day. Occasionally she'll have it turned on for a few hours, during family events or Thanksgiving or whatnot, but on average about 30 minutes a day. So we're going to give Whirlpool the benefit of the doubt here and just say that it operates 1 time per minute. Again, when we timed it, it was about 2 to 4 operations per minute depending on the setting, but we're going to give them the benefit of the doubt here and say 1 time per minute. So 16 months times 30 days times 30 minutes, that means that these have operated about 14,000 times since my parents have gotten it brand new. But at 14 amps, these things are only rated to last 10,000 operations, so we are almost 50% beyond what they're expected to run. Now, granted, in most of my mom's use case, it's the bake relay that has been operated most of this time, so I'm a little surprised that it's the broil relay that failed and not the bake relay, but the point is, this has been used about 40% beyond its rated life expectancy in a normal use case scenario. So I would say that these relays are severely underrated for this application, especially since it's supposed to last 13 to 15 years. They're basically just using super cheap parts, and it seems like, at least with this specific thing, they literally designed it to fail right after the 1-year mark. Another thing I noticed, which may or may not affect it, I don't really know for sure, but this board was made in 2015, and my parents purchased this in 2023. So this board was sitting on the shelf for about 8 years before it got installed and used in an oven, and we don't know how it was handled in that time. I also noticed that the control board is mounted right above the exhaust for the oven, which I can't imagine is very good for it. These circuit boards are not designed to get very hot at all, even once or twice, but let alone every single day. It's not supposed to heat up that much and cool off. So I'm not 100% certain if they designed it that way or if that was just an oversight and they just never caught it before they released it. But I have to imagine that that had some kind of contribution to the problem as well. So moving on to the dishwasher, the front panel failed, the little digital display and the buttons. They were just not able to do anything with it, and it just displayed 1. And we figured out that what happened was the glue holding the screen down sort of came off, and we think that the steam caused that to happen, and then eventually, moisture got in there and ruined the board. So they had to get that replaced, and that also seems like a really poor design to me, because obviously steam comes out the top there. So why would you not use a more durable glue or even, a proper seal and some fasteners? That just doesn't make any sense to me. The second time the dishwasher failed, it was the drain pump, and what happened was the impeller broke, so it just started making this horrible grinding sound and this really awful sound, and it was not draining the water inside the dishwasher. So they also had to get that replaced, and that happened a few months ago, so that was probably like 13 months in or something like that. So after diving deeper into all these problems, I can confidently say, do not buy any Whirlpool appliances. They are built very poorly, and I have to think that they are intentionally designed very poorly, and specifically to fail just after the 1-year mark, which makes sense because the warranty lasts 1 year. So of course they would want to wait for that warranty to expire before it fails. If this video helped you in deciding to purchase this product, or in this case, avoid this product, make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel down below for more unbiased product reviews just like this one, and I will see you guys in the next video.